Another week, another episode of Huddle Up. I'm your host, Paul Snyder. Plenty to talk about today for our hour long. We're here from 2 to 3 p.m. live here on Channel 15 throughout Franklin County, also online on our YouTube channel. So you can call in at any time, 802-527-6449 and talk sports with us. To my immediate right, JT, welcome.
Howdy-ho.
I guess we'll just get right into it. The one thing that everyone's talking about, and it's somewhat important, is how the Pro Bowl went.
Thank you.
Okay.
I watched the Pro Bowl.
No, you didn't.
I watched it, and
Come
the
on.
only reason why I watched it
Why?
is for this show. I wanted to be able to talk about what I saw, what was going on.
I'll tell you how much I watched about it. Probably about 2 minutes, because I was watching the NHL All-Star Game, which was, by and large, so much more entertaining than this Pro Bowl.
I'm sure it was. And like I said, the only reason why I watched that stupid game is because I wanted to be able to talk about it. So first off...
And I have a way to improve it. I have an instant way to improve it. And I'll tell you after you go.
Oh, I've got a great way to improve it.
Just get rid of
Take
it.
it off the air.
If you want to give this somewhat of a rating, you remember, I want to say it was like 10 years ago. That's how long this was. ESPN did this fun thing about SportsCenter, where they had SportsCenter airing on ESPN, and on ESPN2 they had This is SportsCenter, where they had the behind the scenes of SportsCenter. They were showing you video and camera angles you've never seen before. You were looking inside the tech director's room and you're seeing this. Do that with the Pro Bowl. ESPN is your normal broadcast. ESPN2 is listening to the coaches talk, listening to the sidelines, miking up players, showing inside the locker room, anything.
Yeah.
Give the views something. It's great because that would get more views than the actual game.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I remember last year's Pro Bowl. Now that
You were the only one.
yeah. So last year it was really bad about not tackling and all that crap. Which this year, it started a little bit better, I guess. It's not really tackling whatsoever. And what makes me laugh is we talk about how the Pro Bowl, everyone's worried about injuries, and I'm going, how? No one's getting hit. The minute somebody runs into somebody else, plays dead.
They just stop it. Right.
Wait, what risk is there to anything? There's nothing, and there's no hard plays. The minute you run into somebody, the play's dead, so you're not even getting like out of a tackle and running for another 40 yards. You just stop, and the long shots down the field, no one's trying for anything. Like, it was a complete.
I thought we would at least
joke.
see that. That's all they were talking about was we're going to see this exhibition of great hands in the Pro Bowl. I didn't see it at all.
No.
There was nothing exciting. There was nothing exciting. There literally wasn't.
I don't even think Odell caught a ball.
I think Dallas's Lee, is that his last name? His interception was the most entertaining part of the Pro Bowl, and it was like the first 5 minutes of the game.
And I liked how when it ended, we started having Beckham and Green as cornerbacks.
Right.
What?
I'll never forget. I'll forget his name because I want to bring it up. There was a running back for the Patriots. He went to the Pro Bowl and he ended up playing just pickup football. I think it was like flag football or something like that. And he was a very good running back. He held the record for like most consecutive games to start his career with the touchdown for the Patriots. I'm going to forget his name, Robert something. And he went to the Pro Bowl, played pickup football, flag football on sand, and his knee exploded. I don't think he ever played again. And that's kind of what you're saying, seeing these stars play the opposite positions. I wish they would just do that the whole game then, if that's what they're going to do. I mean, we saw Richard Sherman try and run with the ball, and that was terrible.
Screw it. Take your defense. They're now the offense.
This is what I was saying last week. Make it 7-on-7. Make it interesting. Put flags on them. I don't really care. If they're not going to tackle them anyway, they might as well try and reach for flags.
Yeah, forget the pads. Why not? What difference does it make? Like you said, there's no tackling, there's no anything, so just forget about it. It's not a contact game. It's a joke.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it should just be considered an honor and it's done. Okay, you're entered or you won your chance to go to the Pro Bowl, great. You don't have to go. I mean, the Patriots elected not to send anybody.
Yeah.
They later disclosed that they were for random reasons. Malcolm Butler didn't go because of an undisclosed leg injury or something like that. We all probably know why Gostkowski didn't go, and the same thing with Brady. They're not going to do that. It's almost like I've been there before. Great, nice, thanks for the honor, but I'm not going type of thing. And we talked last week how this was like a record number of people that were accepted and declined, accepted and declined, accepted and declined that went. It's just so boring. But I think if you have to add something to it, and like I was saying last week, adding a skills competition to it would make this whole weekend something to actually watch for.
No, so on that note, all right, they did. It was pretty early in the game, but they did. They showed a GoPro. They mounted up GoPros on Odell, on his head, on his hands.
That's what I was going to suggest too. Put it on the quarterback or something.
Well, it was all over him, and so you're nothing but these one-handed catches, nothing but them, and it was neat. You're seeing these right off his hand, just watching him catch the ball. That was probably my favorite part of the Pro Bowl. Just that little, and it was more or less a commercial.
Sure.
I mean, that was more entertaining than the game. And the announcers for the game were all talking about how I want to see these guys do it without the gloves. Well, yes, please.
Right.
How about let's do the skills competition. If you're the best of the best, your hands, because that's what we all want to watch. We want to see that receiver make that ridiculous diving one-handed catch. Let's just do that. Gloves, no gloves. Who's the best? Give us something to look forward to, because that game sucked.
Yeah, it's terrible. And like I was alluding to, I was watching the NHL All-Star game. I'm a very big NHL playoff fan. I like when playoff comes around. I'm really big into hockey. I think it's some of the most exciting playoff sport that's out there because it's so quick and it's just it's so combative between the two teams. And they changed up the All-Star routine this year. They did 3 20-minute games. And that's what was so much fun to watch was just the back and forth. And the best part was it wasn't 5-on-5, it was 3-on-3. So lines are changing. There's people going all over the place. It's shot, 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 shot. And the cool part about it compared to last year where there was like umpteen goals scored, there was like nothing scored this year. It's as if goalies were literally on their heads stopping pucks. And it was just so much fun to watch and so exciting. And before that, even on Saturday, there was the skills competition. And I always say the NHL does this right in a sense. They have the skills competitions you really want to see these players do. They have puck handling, they have speed skating, they have precision passing and precision shooting. They have goalies shooting goals from full ice. They just don't do a good job of promoting it. NBC is trying to help them out in that sense with NBC Sports, but that's something that if they do a better job of promoting, I think we'll get a little bigger. It was myself, my wife, my mom, my brother, my dad. We're all sitting in the living room watching the NHL skills competition. My mom couldn't give a flying crap about the NHL, but she's cheering every time someone scores a goal or precision pass perfectly. And that's what I mean. The excitement of watching the skills competition doesn't matter what sport it is. It's seeing these players out of their element, trying to show you the best of their ability.
Yeah.
And that's what I love, and that's why we want to see the most one-handed catches, 40-yard dashes. I mean, you talk about these players, these fastest wide receivers. Oh, well, my 40 time was great. Your 40 time was when you were 20 years old in college. What's it now that you're 28, 29 years old? Are you still fastest of the fast? Put some veterans against rookies, see who's fastest. I think that'd be a lot of fun to see something like that. QB, I mean, people that are into video games, they know Madden has these things. The Madden Challenge is that you can go in and you can precision pass and you can do these things. You can run. It's linebacker. It's Oklahoma. Linebacker on running back. Who's gonna bust out the either way. That's what I would want to see. And it's not like they're going to get hurt because they're not already getting hurt now. So what's another week of a couple banged up arms or something like that?
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. And
I would too. And
I'm not excited for the NBA All-Star game in a sense because there's only a couple real things I like to see. I like to see the three-point contest. And I'm not even a big fan of the dunk contest because everything happens so quickly. I really never know what they're doing until I see it on replay.
Yeah, I like for the NBA. I like the point guard skills challenge, and I like the 3-point. I like the rookies versus sophomore game. I think that's a lot of fun. But But I do like the All-Star game just because.
I think I like everything surrounding the All-Star game. I don't like the All-Star game itself. I love, because they do a good job of really pumping up the TV viewers and the ratings and the crowd the night of the skills competition, where there's music playing all the time, there's celebrities, there's everything, and then the next night it's more like, okay, here's all the players, national anthem, let's play type of thing, as opposed to, you know, the skills competition the night before, where it's kind of like a whole blowout party and everyone's having fun, and not everybody's dressed in uniforms. You got everyone dressed to the nines, you know, at the game.
No,
and
you've seen that sporadically throughout the All-Star game with certain players. I mean, Shaq was probably one of the best at taking not a serious attitude from the All-Star game, but taking the All-Star game and just bringing it to life. I've watched him take kids out to center court and just start dancing and like being stupid. In 2009 or 10 or whenever it was, when he did his little break dancing competition with LeBron and with Dwight. I mean, he was good about taking that atmosphere and just making it
being
still
a big
party.
kid. He embraced it very well. But okay, so if you're looking at this year coming, who's going to be that Shaq that comes through and makes this his own party?
Well, I can tell you, I don't care about anybody else in this All-Star game. I just want to see Kobe shoot off 70 points. I would love to see him dunk and score a ton.
We had talked about Kobe, saying that like eventually this year he's going to have that Kobe moment. I think it was last night he helped beat Minnesota. He scored 38 points, 7 threes. They won 119-115 against Minnesota, and people are going, vintage Kobe's back. And I went, no, that's not the moment I'm talking about.
No.
I'm not talking about 38 points. I want to see Kobe go out there and throw 60-something points up, 70-something points up. I want you to reach that. What's his career, like 81, something like that?
81.
I want to see him go out there. I just want one of those nights. You're just playing, I don't care who it is, Philadelphia, it doesn't matter to me.
No.
Brooklyn. Go out there, just feed him the rock. Let him throw down like 23s. Who gives a damn?
Yeah.
Because it's going to come to that point where we're midway through the season when it comes to records. We're running out of time to see that.
And he's
with
not
Kobe.
fighting. That team is not fighting for anything, so there's nothing to lose here
There's
either.
There's nothing to lose at all. You might as well just feed him the rock.
Yeah, and like you said, his 38 points is not vintage Kobe night. It's not even remotely to vintage Kobe night. It's a good game.
Sure.
It's a good game. I'll give him that. But no, I'm like.
And I don't know what his numbers are. I don't know what if he went. He had 7 threes. I don't know how many he shot. I don't know how many other points he made or what he did.
I want to see that 60-plus point game. And in all honesty, we're bound to. It's bound to happen. He's going to blow up at some point. Whether or not they feed him the ball.
I would be disappointed as a fan if they didn't take that approach, because you're right. The Lakers, they have nothing to play for right now. They have arguably one of the greatest basketball players to ever play the game. Why not give him a day to just go out there and throw his arm out shooting?
And I think it's one of those things where you play it by ear. If Kobe's feeling it, there you go.
Right.
And you know what? If he loses it, he loses it. But whatever. This is about letting this guy go out completely on top with, and not only for him, but for the fans of, hey, we just happened to get that game the last day of his career that he blew up for 70 points.
And I know a lot of people will kind of judge this in a way, saying like, oh, well, you're giving him the ball. He's not really taking ownership of this game. And I get that, where it's like, oh, did he really deserve that 90-point night because all they did was feed him the ball? I'm like, well, how's it any different from when any other player goes off? That's what the game plan is, give him the ball. And I know that those aren't any special moments that he's retiring and trying to go off in the sunset or anything, but the game plan is very similar. When a player shoots, who's the guy for Chicago that shot like back-to-back 50-point night? Is it Butler? Is that his name? Jimmy Butler for Chicago. The game plan was get him the ball. That's just the way the coaching staff took it. Same thing with Cousins out in Sacramento. When he gets hot, they feed him the ball. Steph Curry, you feed him the ball. It's just when those players get hot, you let them do it. I don't see any reason why the Lakers couldn't do that for a game. I'm not saying take a day on your calendar, circle it, and say that's the day we're just going to feed Kobe and that's it. I'm not saying do that, but if, like you said, if he's feeling it, give him the ball.
Yeah. And everyone would appreciate it. The fans would love it. I mean, as a fan watching the game today, I mean, obviously the most talked about thing is going to be the Warriors and watching them play. And it's I look
Four
back
losses, right? Still
four
44
and 4. They the other night Stephen Curry was completely off. I mean, he couldn't hit a shot to save his life. Still scored 20 points, but he couldn't hit a shot to save his life. And Klay Thompson and Green both went off.
Right.
And this is exactly what it's about. Is when you look at Cleveland Cavaliers, you have LeBron James, who just I want to be the guy. 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 Well, no, you need a team of I want to be the guy. And when you look at the Warriors, that's what they are. There's all 5 starters, and in all honesty, 5 guys coming off the bench are all going, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. Give me the ball and I'll be that guy. And you watch, it doesn't matter who's hot, they're going to get the ball, and they just keep cycling it through. Stephen Curry doesn't care if he has 40 points a night. He doesn't care about his stats. He just wants to win on the board. Draymond Green, I mean, he's practically averaging a triple-double at this point.
Right.
I mean,
Which is scary to think about, and he's not the all-star on the team.
No, he's not even close to being the all-star on the team. And then you have highlight players like Iguodala, who, whenever you have his hands on the ball, you're going, oh, let me watch this. This is going to be fun. I mean, you have Curry and Splash Brothers. You have Curry and you have Thompson nailing it from outside. You've got Draymond Green, who does it all. You have Iguodala, who dunks ridiculously. I mean, I want to see LeBron and Iguodala go at a dunking contest, because that would be entertaining.
We all do, trust me.
And then
The day LeBron James joins the dunk competition is probably the year he's retiring. So, and speaking of that, Kobe better be in this 3-point contest on All-Star Weekend, because why not go out with a bang? Go out there, win the 3-point contest, and then, you know what? Call it a career then. The season's half over. Who cares? Go out there and win that. Heck, do the dunk competition, Kobe. Do something. Do the point guard challenge. I don't care.
I would have loved
to
see him
involved
do
in
the
something.
dunk
I would
contest
love
again.
to see him do it all.
Yeah.
Why not? The things are
It's your
spaced
last
out
go.
long enough. Just go out.
It's your last go.
Drink some Gatorade, grab a Big Mac, get out there. I don't see what the problem is.
I agree.
These players are paid, millions of dollars. He's had a heck of a career, 20-something years in that range. Go out there and just ball.
Have fun.
Have fun. That's what this whole thing's about. Why not?
Yeah.
And it's funny because where it's located this year in Toronto, everyone's saying that the person to watch is Curry. Curry's father played for Toronto. Curry spent most of a good portion of his childhood in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in this arena. He's been in these locker rooms. He's been on this court after and before games, shooting the ball around with his dad. He's probably going to feel the most comfortable in Toronto.
This is what creates this game to be a lot of fun or exciting for me as being a Kobe fan, is because when you look at somebody like Stephen Curry, who again has no care about his stats. I mean, he loves having a good night. He loves scoring 50 points just like anybody else. That entire Western team is all looking at that the same way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's one of those players that if he scores 10 points or he scores 40 points, if his team is winning, he's still got the same smile on his face. You don't see him like, I should have done better and blah, blah, blah. It's more like our team played great tonight.
Yep.
And I love that mentality, and you don't see that from many players. You see that
especially young players.
Very young players. Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about how, we still remember him at Davidson. He's not that long removed from college.
No.
And he's taking this team under his wing and really playing. I remember listening to SportsCenter maybe a few years ago saying, this kid is special. Watch out for this team. They're going to take over California. And they really are.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. And I think about, I want to say, was it last year the All-Star game was in New York, or 2 years ago, one or the other? And Carmelo was hurt, and he needed to have season-ending surgery, but he waited till after the All-Star game and he played in it. And they just fed him the ball and fed him the ball and fed him the ball. It's hometown, it's trying to create,
Right.
Everyone is about the same thing, about giving the fans that are there what they want to see.
I haven't seen any of the promotional things for the All-Star game. Do you think there's going to be something big for Vince Carter this year? I know he's not playing anymore, but it's Toronto.
I don't know.
That's his career right there,
I don't know.
Between that and the Nets, anyway. But we're not doing anything for the Nets. Talking basketball, talking Pro Bowl, talking NHL. Let's we'll put it lightly. Let's get it over with. Let's talk a little football. And since the Super Bowl is coming up, I cannot wait for these commercials. I haven't heard anything yet. I've been blocking them out, so I can't wait for that. You got Coldplay playing the halftime show, little Bruno Mars and Beyonce. So yeah. So we're probably kind of in agreement. Carolina's going to blow this one out of the water, or are you holding back the reins a little bit? And then I say agreement as in that's what we think, but what do you want?
I don't care who wins.
I think the story's good either way, right?
I think it is, but this is my one downfall. I think if Denver wins this Super Bowl, I think it's a completely fixed Super Bowl.
Really?
There's no way Denver should stand a chance against Carolina. I mean, unless they go in there and I see Cam Newton getting rocked like they did with Tom Brady, okay, then maybe they have a chance. But that's the only way. You're not. If somehow miraculously Peyton Manning has that crazy game and wins the Super Bowl, he's done, I think it's fixed.
I don't see how he would be able to do that. From what Denver has shown you this year, they are by no means a team that can blow out a team in any way.
No.
And Carolina has done nothing but do that.
Mm-hmm.
They've done that defensively and they've done that offensively. So I can't see a team like Denver being able to pull that off.
I don't either. And, I look forward to the game and I look forward to watching Carolina win. And like I said, I mean, either way, I'd be happy. But my only downfall is I think truly, I just don't believe that Denver has any shot in the dark to win this game. And I think if they do, then there's something behind the scenes.
That being said, it's one of those things where Carolina, and there's been a lot of talk about Cam Newton and like how he's being perceived. And I'm one of those people a few years ago, I wasn't a Cam Newton fan. I didn't like the celebrating when you score a touchdown and your team's down 30. It was one of those kind of grow up moments, like start celebrating when you're the best in the game. Right now, I'm considering him one of the best of the game. I'm fine if you talk. My big thing has always been, I don't care if you celebrate as long as you back it up. And God, does he do that? Mm-hmm. So I have no problem with it. He's a great young athlete that's really thriving right now, and a great defense to back him up in a sense. Sometimes you see these athletes that they've got the talent of Cam Newton, but you can't win on just offense alone.
No.
And this Carolina defense is so much fun to watch. They're really an in the trenches kind of team, and they'll smack you right in the mouth. It don't matter. It doesn't matter to them. I love it. And it's kind of both ways with Denver. If Peyton Manning wins, I'm one of probably those one of like 6 New England fans that doesn't hate Peyton Manning. I think he's funny. I think he's charismatic, and I think he's one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. And without Peyton Manning, you don't have the greatness of Tom Brady, because then he's not beating the best. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that he's been here against Tom Brady for all these years. I love that Tom Brady's still going to continue going on while Peyton Manning is gone. That's fine. There's other people to compete against. But for me, it's kind of a win-win for either team. I'm happy for Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers to be able to do something like this that hasn't been done. And very ironically, we'll go 18-1 and win the Super Bowl, a number that has haunted me as an 18-1 as, imperfection. Mm-hmm. But then if Denver wins, same thing. I feel great for Peyton Manning. Get that second Super Bowl, and you're up there. Anything that's going to push Joe Montana down the list as the best quarterback, I'm so okay with that.
Well, I want to bring up a couple of interesting things. So obviously with Press Week, there's all these conversations. Have you listened to the Cam Newton conversation that kind of got spread a little bit outside the box?
Right, talking, and for context, talking about how people are scared of him because he's an African-American quarterback. Right.
Now, kind of going about that lines is I want to look at this of, you talk about him celebrating. One of my favorite parts about watching Carolina play is watching Cam Newton go up and give that ball to somebody.
Absolutely.
And it was
it's
2 games ago.
It's everything that's right in the game.
2 games ago, he goes up and he gave the ball to a little girl up in the stands.
We were watching this game.
And
right. Her face.
smile was so precious.
It lit that entire stadium up.
So then to come to find out, that little girl, her dad was telling her that he was going to take her to a Carolina game. Well, he passed that week
Before the game?
he could take her.
No way.
And so the grandparents took her to that game, and that's what happens.
Getting
you
chills.
know,
I didn't know that story.
You do.
Yeah.
And reading that article was intense just on its own.
Sure.
Because I looked at her face when we watched the game, and I was just like,
You
that
instantly
is
said
amazing.
that. The second it happened, you were like, "I love that. Look at that face. Look at that face." You were ear to ear.
I was, and honestly, I have a little girl, so I get it. But
Right.
how do you look at this guy and not go, you are a respectable, great person. You're a good human being.
He's everything that's right in football right now.
Now, with that being said, yesterday there was a lovely bulletin, which I don't know if you've seen that yet or not. A few high school girls put on Carolina Panthers jerseys.
Yep, I did see
Okay,
this.
his jersey number and wrote NI.
N-I
Star.
ER. Yeah.
Okay, first off, these are kids that don't understand the repercussions of their actions.
Right.
So taking that into account, but on top of that, you had this huge story about how Odell Beckham was getting threatened with bats and that kind of stuff. This is a guy who shows the utmost respect for his team, his players, and his fans. For instance, giving the balls away or anything like that. I mean, he is a high, happy emotion kind of guy. And to see kids come out and do something as silly as they did is upsetting because, yes, he is African American. Yes, he is an African American quarterback, which in our nature has not done the best. And, when he came out and made that statement, he said, "You can't compare me to anybody. You haven't seen me yet."
Right.
And, you and I have sat here and tried to talk about, like, who do you compare him to? Your best guess is like a Roethlisberger, but he runs more.
Right. It was almost like we said a mix between like a Roethlisberger and like a Michael Vick type of player. He's a breed that you've never seen before.
You can't compare him. He is one of a kind, and he is going to outlive any of the people you want to compare him to because he plays so differently, and he is such a different stature of man.
Right.
He is big, he is strong, he is thick. Michael Vick, short, tiny, scrawny, and he got hurt.
Right.
Ultimately, the running can only go so far before you get hurt. But his comment was not meant, and honestly, even just the first time listening to it, it was not meant as a claiming racism card or anything like that. He was just saying, you haven't seen me. You can't compare me. I'm not comparable. Right. Which in the same sense, neither is LeBron James. You cannot compare him to a Michael Jordan because they are different types of players. Mm-hmm. There is no other player.
No, these are one in a generation, even more, one in many generation players that come up that you've never seen before, but the problem is people don't know how to react, and most of them react negatively by saying, "Oh, this guy's not good for the game. This guy is ruining the game. Look at." I mean, I hear so many people saying, "Oh, he's a punk. Look at him dancing in the end zone." And I mean, what he does for the NFL right now, he's rejuvenating a league that's already on top of the mountain. Mm-hmm. When Carolina's playing, eyeballs are fixated. They want to see what they're going to do next. And this goes into my whole argument. I don't care what you do as long as you back it up. Dance all you want. Celebrate all you want. Remember, I was telling you with the Carolina against the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. I flipped to the channel and the team's taking pictures on the sidelines. Like, oh, the game must be over, and there's still like 3 minutes left. Mm-hmm. They're celebrating. They're having a good time. They're everything right now that's right in football, in sports, because they're celebrating. They're having fun, and they're doing it. They're doing it respectively in their own environment. Yep. No one's telling you to go out there and root for them. They're going to go out there and do that themselves. They're going to go out there and outperform the best. Yep. And they're going to do that having fun. When Cam Newton comes off a bus or comes off the plane, he's ear-to-ear smile. Mm-hmm. He's out there. He's running around. He's jumping. He's yelling at fans. He's running around the stadium. That's the kind of player I want to see in NFL. It's the kind of player I want to root for. I don't want to root for the guy who's a loner, who's going out there and disrespects the fans or something, or doesn't want to talk to. That's not the player. That's not the player that I want to fall in love with. I'm not saying that's not the player that anyone else can't fall in love with. That's the player I don't want. I want to see someone out there that's really soaking this all in, because athletes do not have long careers. He's taking every minute of it, soaking it in, and really just enjoying it. And he's helping other people enjoy it by doing the same thing.
Exactly. And I've listened to a lot of people make the argument of he goes overboard and blah, 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 blah. And, it's sad to say that the race card is so still valid in our country.
And so easily brought up, too.
You look at somebody as a Patriots fan. I mean, you look at somebody like Gronk, who every time he does his stuff, he always makes sure to symbolize that he got a first down. He spikes the ball when he gets a touchdown. He does his thing. This is no different. He's white, he's black. I mean, we really got to get over that, and people got to remember that. The white guys do it too, so do black guys. It's not I'm better than you. It's a, hey, I'm happy I did this.
And it's more like stop judging them on the color of the skin. Start judging them on the symbol on their jersey. I don't care if you don't like Cam Newton because you don't like the Panthers. I don't care if you don't like Gronkowski because he's a Patriot fan. But don't dislike them because of the color of their skin. It doesn't make any sense. They're all athletes in the same, playing for the same goal.
Yeah, if you're watching football, you're looking for good game. You're looking for good play. At least respect that.
So, I mean, I'm glad we had a little bit of an ethical discussion here. Let's get a little into, do we see, what do we see coming from this game? Do we see it's just going to be kind of that blowout with Carolina? They're going to go ahead like they've done so many times this year, where they're going to get a big lead and coast to the end? Or is this going to be Denver's not and we've discussed this. Denver's not really showing everyone the fullest potential of their defense, and here's what's going to happen. I'm still torn. I think that it's going to be a close game.
I think,
but I don't. But I
have two thoughts. Either first off, Carolina just torches them. I mean, you're going to see Arizona game all over again, but maybe
that's
even
plan
worse.
A.
That's plan A.
Okay.
Plan B is I see it a field goal win, and I see it very low scoring with both defenses just beating the crap out of one another.
It's the one thing a lot of people talk about, and you don't really see it, is the Super Bowl is such a big stage. It's unlike any other game that you're going to see throughout the NFL season. Obviously, things happen that aren't supposed to happen, and things don't happen that you think are supposed to happen. Everyone thinks Carolina's going to go out there, throw 38 points up there. Broncos are going to go up there and throw 20, and that's going to be it. That's the end of it. Done. You can't go up there thinking that's going to happen. When Seattle faced against Denver, everyone's saying, great, we got the best defense versus the best offense, low-scoring game, here we go. No, wicked blowout. Yeah. Seattle destroyed them. Denver scored like 6 points, something like that. The 2007 New England Patriots, the 18-0 at that point New England Patriots going up against the Giants defense they had already beaten earlier that year. This is by far and it has been dubbed the greatest offensive team in NFL history because of the points they put up and the statistics they put up. They threw up 17 points against the Giants, a team that had been putting up an average of 33, 34 points a game. The things that happen in the Super Bowl, they just never happen the way you expect them to.
No.
And that's why when I look at both teams, I'm going, oh, great. Carolina, great offense, amazing defense. Denver Broncos, okay offense, great defense. What's going to happen? I'm thinking, cool, low-scoring game. Carolina will win by a touchdown or something like that. And I know it's going to be the complete opposite, where Denver's going to go out there. Demaryius Thomas, who's been completely silent this entire postseason, probably have like 200 yards of reception or something like that.
And like 4 touchdowns.
And 4 touchdowns, and everyone's going to go, oh, I guess Denver's pretty good. It's really going to come down to the sheriff. What's going to happen with that ball in his hand? Is he going to be able to look at this defensive line and these D-backs? Because Luke Kuechly's been that mystery puzzle piece for quarterbacks all year.
Oh, yeah.
And same thing with Josh Norman. This defensive team for Carolina has just been so much fun to watch, and I love watching Luke Kuechly. I liked watching him when he played at BC. That was like the last time I think I remember actually watching college football in New England was watching Kuechly play for BC. So that was a lot of fun, and he's a lot of fun to watch now. I want to go with everyone else. I want to say Carolina's going to win by a touchdown or more. But then part of me is like, well, what if Peyton has just that little bit of magic left and something happens? It doesn't even have to be Peyton.
Well, if you think about
that Denver defense isn't anything to put your nose up at.
The Vegas odds are Carolina by 8.
Wow.
That's the Vegas odd. So, I mean, people really are expecting Carolina to win big. And I can totally see why. I mean, when you go to explain the two teams, you have great offense with a great defense, and then you have a iffy offense with a great defense. I mean, you just explained it perfectly. I mean, you're saying that this team is by far superior. Now, you look at a team like Denver, and they have all the pieces to be surprising. You mentioned Demaryius Thomas, who's done nothing but drop balls all year long. You look at running backs who are very talented but have underproduced. And you look at Peyton Manning, who is he done? How is his arm? Can he feel anything? Where is he at? There's a lot of question marks. You're not putting question marks up against Carolina. The only Carolina question mark you're going to have is whether or not they can contain Cam
Newton, right?
That's the question.
And the reason I think they can't, is because I've watched the highlights over and over again. They showed nothing against the Patriots. Nothing. The Patriots' offensive line lost that game for New England because they couldn't contain 3 rushers on that Denver side. So the way I look at it is, if you're Carolina looking to get a good look at what's coming at you, you didn't get anything.
Yeah.
You didn't get a good look at all. You saw, because your offensive line in Carolina is superior to what the Patriots were able to put up there. So now, what are we really going to see from this Denver defense? Who's going to come out? Who's going to attack?
Yeah.
That's the reason that New England did so poorly, is because Denver rushes 3. They got 8 guys on their 5 receivers, or 4 receivers and a running back. Even Tom Brady's not going to pull his way out of that one.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen. So I'm very curious to see how they're able to contain Cam Newton in that offensive line.
Part of me really thinks that they're capable of it. I think they have. When you look at DeMarcus Ware, Aqib Talib, Julius Peppers, you're just looking at guys that are not only really great at their position, but they're all very athletic. And they've been in the game long enough to know.
Right.
They know better. They're not surprised.
Really, the only thing that Denver has going for them is not a good majority, but a good portion of their team did go to the Super Bowl a couple years ago.
Yeah, and
they have that experience.
Most of their defensive all-stars, I guess is how I'll put them, are well experienced within the game.
Right.
It's not a new thing to them. Talib, obviously, he's been to several Super Bowls with the Patriots.
He hasn't been to one. I don't think so.
He was.
Nope.
Didn't he win the last one?
He wasn't there last year.
He wasn't?
Nope, that was Butler. Remember, we got rid of.
Oh yeah,
They lost. They had Talib back 2 years ago against Denver, and he didn't play almost the entire game. And Denver ended up beating the Patriots and going to the Super Bowl. Denver next year after that, he left. Butler came in, Super Bowl hero. Denver didn't get to the AFC Championship this year. That was the big thing actually about Aqib Talib, is they asked him. They said, "So, how does it finally feel?" And he was just ecstatic because he'd finally reached the Super Bowl.
I thought he had.
I thought so too. I had to think back. I'm like, no, he wasn't there last year, because that was the whole big thing about Revis came in, then Butler came in. So no, he hadn't come in. Talking Super Bowl, we're kind of on the same page. We think Carolina. We think at least from a field goal to a touchdown. What about some other things that are going on? This is actually one of my favorite parts about the Super Bowl, is the prop bets. Just the most, it keeps me entertained on a game that I'm not really super excited about. A game that the Patriots aren't playing. So I printed off a couple of the prop bets. I figured we could just go down the list, make our choices, and see. Well, I'll watch, I'll write them down, and we'll see what happens. The first.
Are we putting money on these?
No, we can put lunch on it.
Sure.
How's lunch sound? Okay, so we'll do that. First one will be, will Mike Carey be wrong about a challenge? CBS is holding the team, so that means we're going to need Phil Simms and Mike Carey as their your NFL official. So the first one was, will Mike Carey be wrong about a challenge?
I love him. No.
I would love to say yes, just for the sheer fact that I don't like him. But I think you're right. I think on the biggest of stages, he's not going to put himself in a position where he's going to be wrong.
No.
The other next one, will the Panthers player who scores the first touchdown give the ball to a boy or to a girl?
Girl.
You think girl? I'll go with boy, just for sheer. Will the announcers mention that Kubiak, who is current coach for Denver, was Elway's backup during the broadcast?
Probably.
I think that's a Phil Simms move. Phil Simms is a former quarterback, and I think that he's going to do that.
Well,
so.
they like to talk about Elway every time Denver plays.
I didn't purposely put that prop bet on there, saying that will they show Elway? Of course they're going to show Elway.
He's the owner of the
I
team,
think that it said like how many times they'll show Elway, but I don't have the attention span to be able to be like 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're saying that they'll eventually say that Kubiak was the backup.
I actually don't think it'll be eventually. I think it'll come out pretty quick.
Right, and then one of them was on there that I didn't write down was, will the Golden Gate Bridge be shown? And I'm like, it's right down the street. Of course it's going to be shown. At one point or another, the Golden Gate Bridge will be shown. This one's one we can have kind of a little battle against. What color will the liquid of Gatorade be that's poured on the winning coach? Oh. And I can give you odds if you'd like.
I'd say orange.
That's the top odd, is orange. I'll go with blue. I just think that Carolina might if they win, they're going to go blue. So I got that one on that. Who the Super Bowl MVP mentioned first? The odds are God, his team, the city/fans, the coach, his family, or it doesn't mention any of them. To start, this is the first person they mention. And you really got to play the person. You got to play the person. Who do you think's going to be? You got to think who's going to be the NFL MVP. If it's Cam Newton, who's he going to say first? If it's Peyton Manning, who is he going to say first?
I think both of them are the class of player that God is going to come first.
Really?
I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
I'm gonna go with team. I think that Cam Newton's one of those players that might actually say that, like, what a team we have. And same thing with Peyton Manning. He actually might go family, I think.
Yeah, that's a possibility, but I'm going to stick with God.
All right. Which song will Coldplay play first during the halftime show? I know I've listened to Coldplay. I'm not a Coldplay fan, so I really don't know any of these songs. So this is kind of just a guess for me.
Okay.
Adventure of a Lifetime, Fix You, A Sky Full of Stars, Viva La Vida, Clocks, Speed of Sound, Head Full of Dreams, and Paradise.
I don't know.
I'm going to do Fix You because
I'd say Clocks.
Clocks, cool. All right, awesome. Will Left Shark make an appearance on stage during the halftime show? Do you remember Left Shark? In the Super Bowl, I don't know if it was last year, a couple of years ago. He was like the thing of the Super Bowl. It was just a guy in a shark mascot.
Oh, yeah.
And it became like the biggest thing of the Super Bowl.
No.
Yeah, see, I don't think so either because I think that the NFL is not funny enough to make fun of themselves.
No.
To bring Left Shark in. So yeah, I'm also with the no on that one. How many millions of viewers will the Super Bowl have?
They are advertising.
I have an over/under, and I'll tell you what. It's 117 right now. Is the over/under 117 million?
I say over.
Let's make it a little more fun then. How many?
This is the first Super Bowl that they have made it live, free, online. So you have 1 million people who are at work.
Now I don't know. I don't know if they're
computers.
going to count those numbers though. So that's a good question too.
That's the question because there are a lot of people that want to watch this game as Manning fans or
Cam
for
Newton,
Carolina.
for that matter.
But when you make it available free online, you're just opening that realm to a whole another.
If they're going solely on television viewers and it's at 117 right now, I'll say something like 123 million. And that's a lot. That means I'm really saying over. I'm saying 6 million more people are going to watch the Super Bowl than what is currently there.
I think this is going to be the most watched television event in quite some time.
Yeah. So what's your guess on millions of people?
You say one. They
said
say
120.
117. You say 123. I'm gonna go more than you. I'm gonna go 128.
Okay. Wow, that's a lot. You're literally saying I think 11 million more people will actually do that. Coin toss, heads or tails? And would you like me to give you what the past records are?
I've seen a lot of heads lately. I'm going to go with heads.
You're going to go with heads? If it is heads, that means in the last 50 Super Bowls, it'll literally be split down the middle. Which is, that's the whole thing about coin. Doesn't matter how many times you flip it, eventually it'll even out. So I'll go tails never fails because I just like the rhyme. And finally, this is a really, oh no, actually there's a bunch more. Sorry. Will either backup quarterback take a snap in the game?
Yes.
I had to think about this one because if someone's blowing out, there's just two scenarios: whether someone's getting blown out or someone gets hurt.
I have to go with yes because I just don't trust Peyton Manning, and I think they might end up having to switch it out just to see if they can win the game.
Okay, so I see. My thought is also yes, but I think it's going to be Cam Newton sitting on the sidelines. I think I think Derek Anderson's going to go on there to knee the ball.
To knee the ball?
Yep.
Oh, that's possible.
Victory formation. That's how I looked at it. I know a lot of people are kind of looking like, oh, someone's going to get hurt. I'm like, well, I'm thinking more like they're going to have to knee it. Victory formation. So we both kind of say yes. So we'll go off that.
Yeah.
You're saying through injury.
Well, not through injury.
Replacement.
I'm saying through replacement.
Through replacement, I'm saying through victory formation.
Yeah.
So the next one, national anthem. Length of national anthem. The average national anthem length's a minute and 57 seconds. They're putting the over-under for Lady Gaga. I didn't even know she was singing the national anthem.
Oh, my God.
At 2:20.
Over.
You think over? I'll go under. I think for some reason she's going to go out there and bust it out in like a minute 40.
I can't stand her regardless, but I want to talk about the national anthem here for a second, just to bear with me here. What happened to the national anthem? Why is the Mariah Carey-esque national anthem now the only way it's sang? Shut up and sing the stupid song and be done. I don't want to hear you go, ah! No one cares. Shut up. Play an instrument for the national anthem. I'm good with that. Stop singing. I hate it.
Name the first person to score a touchdown. Score a touchdown themselves.
Tolbert.
Tolbert? Okay, I was going to go with Stewart. I think the running back. So you're saying the fullback. That's funny. And finally, will Cam Newton break the Super Bowl record for rushing yards by a quarterback?
No.
Do you know who holds that record? I'll give you a hint. It's 64 yards.
Who? I would say Roethlisberger.
No. Steve McNair. Super Bowl 34.
Yeah.
So 64 yards, that's not a lot.
No.
That's a couple scrambles for Cam Newton.
Yeah, but not against the Denver D.
No? Okay. Yeah, I thought that was nothing. But you're right. It's one of those, you're on one of those stages that you really don't know what's going to happen. No. So I was kind of in flux, but I was more no than anything. Those are our picks. We'll see who wins. I don't know how many there were, like a good 10 or so. What else did I have on here? Calvin Johnson, big news. Detroit. I am so skeptical about how he delivered this news and how he hasn't really actually delivered the news. Sources say Calvin Johnson has told the Detroit Lions that 2015 will be his last.
Was
his last. Great. Your last what? Your last season with Detroit? Your last season ever? This is what I don't understand. And
I think he's done.
You think he's completely done.
I do.
I think he's going somewhere else. I think this was his time saying, I'm out, I'm done, you don't have to pay me, but I'm going somewhere else. Type of situation. And I understand the frustration.
I do too, but for me,
I just don't think it's an injury thing. He put up some good numbers this year. He just didn't have anyone to throw it to him.
I think he's done. I think he's tired. I think he's got his family, and he's content with having it as that. I mean, he's 30. He's getting older. Does he still have a lot of life left in him? Yes, but I don't think he's chasing anything. I don't think he cares to.
He's not doing it for. You're saying he's literally.
I think he's content with where he went.
And if I were, I know it's tough for me to put myself in those shoes, but I feel like I wouldn't be. Yeah. I didn't. What did you really achieve?
Yeah.
You achieved highlight. You were the highlight master the last 10 years. But other than that, you didn't win a Super Bowl. I don't think they won a playoff game.
I don't think so either.
So, or maybe they did. Maybe they won one playoff game. I don't really know, and that's even tough for me to say because I don't even think they had. You didn't really get to showcase your true talent.
No, he's got a lot of records. He was a great highlight player.
Heck, I mean, Randy Moss went to a team for the last few years of his, and he put up stellar numbers because he was surrounded by a team that he could fit into.
He does have a lot of life left in him, and you want to talk about the idea of a Patriot player dynamic duo. I mean, if you want to talk Brady with Megatron and Gronk and Edelman.
And Mini Megatron. That's Minitron. Julian Edelman.
You just give up and just give him the Super Bowl.
That's that 2007 era is where we have Randy Moss now and Wes Welker. I don't think they had Wes Welker then. But you had these players where you're like, just give them the title. That's what they're going to do. And honestly, with the way that the Patriots defense was able to kind of start to form really, and they don't have a lot of they have like 0 free agents they have to worry about this year. This is a great year to pick up that star wide receiver, give Brady someone else to throw to, and Megatron is like top of your list, obviously. Larry Fitzgerald was on the top of your list a couple of years ago until Arizona was able to lock him up. As a Patriots fan, yes, I want to see that. Do I want you to draft them? Heck no. I don't want you to draft a wide receiver because those wide receivers aren't ready to become big stars. But you got to go out there and do something on the offensive side to give Brady another weapon in case someone goes down. You have a way to do it.
It's not about somebody going down. It's about opening up that field more.
And they don't have that deep threat. They haven't had that deep threat since 2009 or 2008.
And they were hoping Amendola would do that, but he was a bust. He was a bust when he got drafted. I mean, that ship has sailed. Take him and Sam Bradford, throw them on the same team again, and get them away because no one cares. You need someone of a Fitzgerald-esque, or if you could conjure up something to give you a player like OBJ or Megatron, what are you going to do?
I just feel like it's too late. They should have done the Patriots might be looking at a team where, or a situation where they should have done that years ago, and they never took the opportunity. As soon as Moss was out of that rotation, that was the last of a deep threat. And I've told you many times this year, Brady would be throwing this ball downfield like he's throwing to someone like that, and he's got to get it in his head that he doesn't have that player anymore, that dynamic player that's going to be able to go up for the ball and come down with it. And he hasn't had that at all. Gronk is the closest thing he's had to it, but Gronk's not a deep threat.
No.
Gronk's fast.
He is, but
Gronk's
he's not.
fast. Gronk's big, but Gronk can't get down he can't run 70 yards in a few seconds.
Yeah. Where ultimately you see a player like, if you had a player like AJ Green, that would be the most dynamic thing because he is that deep threat. He can jump for a ball. He's super tall. Where the only downfall of like a player like Megatron is big and strong, and he's still fast. Don't get me wrong, but he's also older. He's not as much of a downfield threat anymore, and you've seen that a lot. I think that's
situational though. At the same time, he's not getting the ball. He's not getting the ball downfield. We see every single Thanksgiving, he's out there throwing up numbers that we all kind of chuckle at, like, oh yeah, look, it's Calvin Johnson, he's back again.
Yeah.
But he seems to only do that once or twice a year now. But I really think it's situational. I think it has a lot to do with who's throwing him the ball. I don't know who that wide receiver is that the Patriots could sign that's going to make every New England fan start chanting we're Super Bowl 51 champs. I don't know who that player is. I know that's not on their team right now, and I know it hasn't been in 7 years. Mm-hmm. I want to get excited for the offense again. It's Brady can only do so much, but I know that their draft and a lot of their offseason this year is going to be based on that offensive line. I'm fine with that, but we need a little more excitement than just Gronkowski and Edelman getting the ball and getting popped and then getting back up again, because they're not going to be there forever.
No.
And neither is Brady either.
No. And, the biggest goal for them would be to get somebody who is experienced but still young. If you can get a guy who's mid-20s, late 20s, that would be your ideal target, because that is someone who still has a lot of life left in them, and can kind of grow with the team that you can kind of hold on to as players start to get hurt and done. We can all look at Gronk and Edelman and say neither of your careers are going to go on that much longer. Gronk has been hurt and hurt and hurt, and he's a huge target.
Right.
His longevity is not good.
He's one of those players. He's really his career is an accordion right now. He's got to fill as many stats and as many highlights as he can, because his career, he's not going to be a Tom Brady that plays for 20 years. He's going to be this player that after his 10th year, he might go, you know what? My knees can't do this anymore. My back's starting to hurt me.
He can make 10 years.
Right. He's a big boy, and you see this a lot with these big players. They don't play for very long because the back issues reach them and their knee issues and Gronk's already had issues with both of them. He's had multiple surgeries on his arm, multiple surgeries with his knee, his leg, everything's already downing him. And it's funny because his father, I think, is one of the guys who mentioned it, saying that, like, oh, well, you know, Gronk's always been hurt as a kid. That's what he did. He got hurt. He healed really quickly. He got hurt. He healed really quickly. But that kind of toll on a person, not just a player, but a person, is going to show itself soon. Mm-hmm. And it kind of did this year. That bone bruise with Denver, I thought his career was over. The way that he was wincing and on the field. He's one of those players. Do I love watching him play? Yeah. Is there anyone like him in the game? Absolutely not, in my opinion. But I can't put all my stock in Rob Gronkowski.
No. Before we end up, I saw an interesting article. Who wants Peyton Manning?
I saw this too. Okay, St. Louis Rams, I think is what it came out. No, not St. Louis Rams, but the LA Rams.
Yep.
Interesting. Just let him go out. Why? Why would he be the first face of the LA Rams?
Yeah, and why would you want him to be the first face of the LA Rams? You are trying to create a new dynamic. You just got a new stadium.
And that's kind of like that's taking a step backwards.
Yeah.
We want to start the new LA Rams. Let's bring in an old veteran. Why?
Not even an old veteran. We're talking a guy who's
veteran.
Done.
He's the veteran in the NFL right now. You're going to bring him in to play a season? To what? Next year you have to rebuild your team again.
And that doesn't help your fans.
Unless the way they're looking at it is, we're already rebuilding our team. We're moving to LA. We don't really have a good set team and everything. That's fine. I get that aspect. Let the man go out on his own. No. And honestly, I don't think Peyton's going to go either.
No. Oh, no.
You think I want to go do that? You think I want to move to another team and do that again? I don't see that happening.
Peyton's done. I hope.
I think what he said.
Heart,
I think what he said to Bill Belichick, and whatever he said that no one knows, what he said to Tom Brady is 100% genuine. I think this is it, because he said to Belichick, "This might be my last go around. I just want to thank you for the whole for everything," which is really funny for an opposing quarterback to say that too.
Yes, it is.
So the Super Bowl's up. We got our prop bets in. We both think Carolina's going to win. JT, you kind of think by a field goal or more. I think more of a touchdown or more. But again, I'm rooting for Peyton Manning to kind of go off in the sunset. You've been watching Huddle Up. We're live here 2 to 3 o'clock on Wednesdays, every Wednesday. I'm Paul. He's JT. And we'll see you next week on Huddle Up. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Hey sports fans, Paul Snyder here, programming coordinator for Northwest Access TV, here to tell you about a couple opportunities that we have here going on at the station. The high school sports season is always a busy time of year. From the ice rink, hardwood, diamond, or gridiron, there are just way too many games for us to cover alone. That's where you come in.
Tobin with the ball.
Over to Mark Connor. He wants it, won't take it. Harvey will. For three!
We're looking for volunteers with a passion for sports that want to get involved at Northwest Access TV to help record the games in Franklin County. Whether it's from behind the camera catching all the action or simply lending your voice as a play-by-play announcer, we need your help.
Baseball pass. Shot taken. Misses. That's the game. So contact Northwest Access TV today to find out how you can get involved. 802-527-6474 or email us at info@northwestaccess.tv. On Northwest Access TV, local sports is a big part of our programming. We like to re-air the game several times so that local fans can catch the action when they can. So why not take advantage of this if you're a local nonprofit or business? Become a sports sponsor on Northwest Access TV. In exchange for a $500 donation, you receive a 15-second spot about your company at the beginning and end of the rebroadcast games for an entire season. We're talking pennies per spot. It doesn't get much better than that. Contact Northwest Access TV to find out how you can become a high school sports sponsor.